Hello, everyone. I think we're the last panel of the day, and so thank you for being here at this late hour. We will be introducing to you the progress of Project mBridge. As you know, we've presented here before in the last 2 years. So in the past year, we've continued making a lot of progress by going into an MVP mode for this system. So again, we will be introducing it to you. Could we move, yes, to the first slide?
This is for the next page.
Oh, thank you. So, and maybe I can introduce my panelists as well. Here to my side, I have Mr. Mu from the Digital Currency Institute of the People's Bank of China. Then we have Mr. Li from the Central Bank of the U.A.E. And then we have Colin Pou from the Monetary Authority in Hong Kong. Mr. Mu is the chair of the Technology Subcommittee of the project, Mr. Li of the Risk and Compliance Subcommittee and the Business Subcommittee workstream, and Colin of the Legal Subcommittee. So I give you hereby a bit of the history of the mBridge. So mBridge is not a new project. You can see it started quite a while ago with some introductory steps, you could say, that were taken by the Bank of Thailand, who is also a project partner, but could not be on the panel today, and started in 2017 with Project Internon. And in Hong Kong, there was an equivalent project called Lion Rock. And these two projects started working together in 2018 to see if DLT could be used among central banks through the use of central bank digital currency to speed up payments. So the first prototype was already completed in 2018. By 2019, we decided that this project could fit under the BIS Innovation Hub umbrella, because the BIS Innovation Hub was founded around that time. And in sum, we extended the project into a new prototype. Over this same period in the Middle East, a similar project was underway called Project U.A.E, which involved, amongst others, the Central Bank of the U.A.E. and also the Saudi Central Bank. So it is no surprise, therefore, that as part of our project partners at this stage, we also have those two central banks, in particular the Central Bank of the U.A.E. and the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia. This project then in 2021 added participants, including the Bank of China and at the time the Central Bank of the U.A.E., and became labeled as Project mBridge. And from that stage onward, it has done pilot transactions in a first stage, which was in 2022. And throughout 2023 and 2024, it has continued working on perfecting the technology, the legal framework, and the governance framework, and became ready for an MVP launch in May of this year. So the platform has been doing live transactions over this period ever since May. And the panelists will tell you more about the use cases and the activity that we see on the platform. So with that, I will now pass it to Colin to start introducing to us the benefits of the mBridge platform.
Well, thank you, Benedict. mBridge has been designed and built to tackle the long-standing pain point in cross-border payment, which are high cost, low speed, and lack of transparencies. Our experience with the pilot and MVP so far has proved that mBridge can successfully address these pain points. In addition, it has the potential of bringing new benefits and opportunities. I think all of us here might have heard about our own, domestic payment system, usually called the real-time gross settlement system. As a matter of fact, mBridge is like a mega-size real-time gross settlement system. It spans through different jurisdictions. Commercial banks from different jurisdictions participate directly in the platform so that they can make peer-to-peer payments to foreign commercial banks on the platform. The payment is instantaneous. It does not require a corresponding bank In the middle, it would do away with the need for the cost and effort to go through the chain of correspondent banks in the existing model, like processing, tracking, pre-funding. Ultimately, it would enable banks to provide faster, cheaper, and more transparent cross-border payment service to end users. For the banks themselves, they can better manage their liquidity and optimize their cash flow. Apart from these first-level benefits, we have noted that this new arrangement and the new technology will bring about new opportunities as well. Looking ahead, we anticipated that the EVM-compatible DLT platform will unlock exciting new opportunities for innovation within the mBridge ecosystem. EVM-compatible means the mBridge blockchain is interoperable with the commonly used blockchain technology in the market. It opens up the potential for interacting with other blockchains to better manage the payment flow through smart contracts. For example, connecting mBridge with a shipment data blockchain can help control the pace of payment in sync with the progress of the shipment through smart contracts. Another example, more relevant to the regulators, cross-border payment can be subject to different kinds of control or monitoring, like ethics requirement payment limits. Through deployment of suitable smart contracts, we can effectively control the kind of payment that can go through the platform. Monitoring can also be made real-time, and it can save the effort of both the regulators and the regulators in making and receiving the reports. To conclude, it has been proven that mBridge is able to solve the long-standing pain points in cross-border payments. In addition, it has the potential of opening up new horizons in cross-border payment, especially when we are stepping into this increasingly digitalizing world. Yet for it to be successful in delivering these benefits, we need more participation and collaboration. We need a bigger mBridge community to build up the critical mass and achieve better economies of scale. So taking this opportunity, I would really want to invite central banks to join our community. First, I will stop here, Benedict. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I pass it now to Mr. Mu to elaborate on the technology architecture for the platform.
Thank you, Benedict. It's really my pleasure to share with you here about the technical design of mBridge. Well, we actually observe the principle of no disruption and do no harm, and we have to share the mutual trust between participants. So that's why we adopted the blockchain technology in the project. And at the heart of mBridge, we created mBridge Ledger. We can call it MBL, a permissioned DLT network designed to enable atomic cross-border payments and foreign exchange PVP transactions. Within the network, there's no central operator, meaning that each entity operates their own blockchain node, hosts their own databases, store its own key pairs, have full autonomy over its system. Having said that, the central bank and the commercial banks play a different role in such distributed system. The central banks and authorized and the monetary authorities operate consensus node, together responsible for the validating transactions through the consensus protocol, allowing transactions to occur without a single entity exerting overarching control over the system. While commercial banks operate synchronizing nodes with the same capacities, but without participating in the consensus process. The central bank's nodes are directly connected to each other, acting as the bridge for commercial banks' interaction. And the transactions raised to mBridge platform will be transmitted on the blockchain, validated by the consensus mechanism, and then get recorded on the blockchain transparently. All this together makes up the distributed mBridge system and acting as the foundation of trust to support all business on the platform. Thank you. Back to you, Benny.
Thank you so much. So I pass it now to Mr. Lee to comment on the types of transactions that the platform is useful for and that we are seeing so far.
Okay, thank you, Benedict. I think, first of all, cross-border payments, we have been facing the challenges for so many years. And then we have been in financial market infrastructure development for so long to really initiate cross-border transactions with cross-border connectivity of payment system is a pain. With mBridge, now we can make it happen. I still remember, in February this year, actually the U.A.E. initiated the first transaction, and then the chairman of the central bank of the U.A.E., also the vice president of the country, Sheikh Mansour, when he actually helping Bank of China to initiate a cross-border transaction from Abu Dhabi to Beijing. Okay, it's a capital market settlement transaction because Bank of China subscribed the sovereign debt issued by Moderator is one of the sovereign funds in Abu Dhabi, and it's a 50 million dirham transaction. I remember, he kind of amazed, and then it's done around 10 seconds. It's done, really done? I said, yes, look at the screen, it's done. It's received in Beijing, okay, and then it's initiated from Abu Dhabi. So I think we see cases like this kind of cross-border transaction can happen in milliseconds or in a few seconds. And then also, Colin mentioned a lot of other, benefits of that as well. And as a central banker, we pay a lot of attention from a risk perspective because it can do PVP. Not many currencies in the world can actually have real PVP settlement and also using central bank money. And only the CLS currencies can make that happen, but we are only talking 18. So going more forward, when we look at the business cases that can happen, supported by mBridge, we look at a few, we have a lot of discussion with the banking sector or even other stakeholders in our region. So first of all, a lot of banks, they feel very excited about how to really make use of mBridge for their transaction banking business, okay? You look at the Middle East, Central Asia, African countries, even South American countries, they are underserved, okay? Because the correspondent banking network normally not cover so many of these countries. We are not talking the G20 or G7 countries. They're already well served by the correspondent banking network, but many of these countries, they're not served adequately, put it this way. So they are very excited how they make use of the mBridge to support their transaction banking business. And they look at that with huge opportunities. And then also how to facilitate trade financing, trade settlement, and all this, okay, using domestic currency for settlement because liquidity is expensive. Okay, not many countries can access US dollar very easily. And then if they can make use of domestic currency, that will help a lot. The second thing okay, look at the time. We are also looking into that because you look at that region, a lot of kind of bilateral arrangement in terms of clearing settlement, okay? We have a couple of projects that we are looking into, connecting faster payment with some countries, in the region and in a bilateral manner. And also we have domestic card schemes. You look at in the Middle East, many countries, they develop their domestic card payment schemes. But now we look at the settlement. How are we going to do settlement, if possible, nearly real time? Because you look at all this connectivity bilaterally, when the payment's done, the customer, merchants are happy, but the settlement normally deferred, maybe a day or a couple of days later. But if it gets material, it's quite a big risk. So we're exploring whether mBridge is a solution. For the settlement part between banks, we use CBDC. Okay, that's another thing we are exploring. We are actually looking into that very, very seriously. And the third thing is we look at that tokenization is the future, that's what we believe. And then I walked across the HSBC booth there, gold tokenization, okay, and then it's actually happened in the U.A.E. already. Some companies, they tokenize the physical gold, and then you don't need to buy the whole gold bar, but you can own a small unit of that. And then in the U.A.E. in particular, we are looking into tokenization of, for example, property, estate. Okay, so I hope in 18 months' time when you're interested in the property in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, you don't need to spend a few millions to buy the whole property. You can buy a unit, okay, tokenize the unit or fraction unit of the property, and then using CBDC for settlement. If you're from overseas, and that mBridge may be able to help to facilitate the cross-border settlement. So I think looking into that, we see mBridge in certain extent when the capital market infrastructure being more advanced with cross-border connectivity and kind of linkage between CSD and ICSDs with tokenized securities as well. mBridge is a huge potential to facilitate DVP settlement between tokenized securities and then with CBDC or even central bank money. So I think I better stop here. We see a lot of exciting developments, possible development in the future, and also help. I mean, a lot here, people here, friends here are from banks, and then you're looking at how to kind of taking advantage of what we are doing to help you to make generate more revenue and profit.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think the position we take is that mBridge can allow us to do more country financial inclusion, because there is quite some countries that don't have a very good payment, that are not very connected to the international payment systems, are not efficiently connected, which this indeed could achieve. So I will pass it now to Colin to walk us through the legal framework, because obviously this kind of a payment system requires a solid legal approach.
Well, thank you, Benedict. I think with the mBridge, progressing from the pilot stage 2 years ago to now the MVP stage, not only that the technology platform has been upgraded, the legal structure or the legal framework has also been significantly strengthened to ensure that all the parties are participate with strong legal basis. Well, I think the teams participating in mBridge, we are or we have been, in a way, quite heavily involved in our own payment systems. So we understand that apart from the technology, it is also very important that the system is also supported by a strong legal framework that is crucial to, foster confidence in using the system. At the pilot stage 2 years ago, the legal framework was kept at the minimum yet sufficient level for protecting IP, confidentiality, and defining rights and responsibility of different parties so as to be able to support real value transactions. By now, the legal framework has evolved into a quite comprehensive structure containing the components needed for supporting the operation of an infrastructure-like payment system. Apart from the elements commonly seen in domestic payment system, given the cross-border nature of mBridge, the legal framework also contains considerable cross-border elements. I think you can see from the diagram shown here, there is an MVP agreement. This is the overall project collaboration agreement to govern the roles and responsibility of participating central banks. Also, another component is called the rulebook. This platform-wide rulebook is the core document providing step-by-step guidance on how to access and use the mBridge platform, including the relevant technical documentation. This is very much like the rulebook or operating guidelines that we have for our domestic payment systems. Another set of documents is the issuance and redemption terms to cater for the issuance and redemption of CBDC between individual central banks and their commercial banks. Regarding the rights of the holders of foreign CBDC on the platform, those have been captured under the CBDC instrument terms. This articulates the specific rights granted to holders of the CBDC by the CBDC issuing central bank. It may take different forms. It may be, something written in the law, or it may be a specific instrument explicitly define the right of the holder of the CBDC. Down the road with the mBridge gradually progressing to the full production phase, the legal framework will need to be further enhanced to keep pace with, say, new functions, new service, new participants. This may also include exploring a framework for further co-development of the mBridge platform. For example, for open source licensing. To conclude, the mBridge is meant to be an open and collaborative payment infrastructure. The legal framework must be robust enough to provide the certainty and confidence for market participants to join. Yet we are fully aware that the legal framework must also be able to accommodate diversity to facilitate participation and collaboration, so that all parties can participate on a fair and equal basis. Perhaps I will stop here, Benedict. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Colin. So I will pass it back to Mr. Mu to discuss the technology side of things and specifically the consensus algorithm.
Thank you, Benedict. As you can see from the slide, the central bank nodes for mBridge is deployed in each jurisdiction's own data center. The cross-border network connection faces high fluctuation and placing extremely high demand on the stable consensus mechanism under unstable network conditions. So this year we have upgraded the consensus algorithm to increase blockchain performance in an unstable network environment through the use of a combination of weak certificates and the security design to ensure the blockchain is BFT tolerant. And I told this in Cyber. Some journalists, reporters may have doubt that whether I mentioned it's a weak license. So I can assure you that it's really weak certificates. It's a normal IT words. And through the performance test, it shows that the new consensus could help to improve the performance on the scenarios that faces mBridge. In 4 nodes test, the efficiency increased by over 30%. And looking ahead, there are quite a few other challenges. For example, the privacy protection and also the maintenance and operation system, and also, as mentioned by Colin just before, the transparency and open source arrangements of the mBridge. Of course, on the privacy protection design, we are going to use the ZKP technology. And currently, of course, we are using the pseudonym system. But in the future, we are exploring the possibility of ZKP technology. And for the maintenance operation, we are adopting a DevOps mechanism for the mBridge, and also a DC and DI arrangements. And of course, for the openness, transparency, we are going to, currently, we are, in order to strengthen the trust among participants, the source code is completely transparent to all central bank participants. In the next step, we are planning to do open source to third party, and also the preparation for third party code reviews, targeting a full open source in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So over to Mr. Lee to give us a few words on the governance structure, but realizing we're close to time already.
Okay, 2 minutes. All right. Okay, governance is key. Okay, because now we have gone through the pilot review value transaction, now coming to MVP. For MVP, it's a continued operation. We will not stop. We'll continue, but with more functionalities being added in. So now come to a stage that the governance structure for the whole project will be very, very key, because now we have 5 central banks now. Okay, Saudi Arabia will come in soon. We expect more will be coming in. So we need a very, very stringent and very robust governance structure. Number one, I mean, we got to make sure, because we want that fly and sustainable in future. So we need to set up very clear policies and framework. Say, for example, if any sanctions party or sanctioned involved institution whatsoever will not be allowed to put through this platform. And then from an anti-money laundering perspective, from AML CFT perspective, Mr. Mu's team will help us to put in more functionality to the platform to make sure that will not happen in the platform. And then we at some stage, we are actually exploring to set up an entity to really formalize the governance structure with a party as an operator, administrator to really continue running that, because it will grow and grow and grow. And then now we're talking, billions of transactions being, in terms of US dollar value being put through few hundred already in the last few months, and it's still growing. In Abu Dhabi, in the U.A.E, I think my staff told me, my colleagues told me, in last month we have about 37% growth in terms of transaction volume. And then the banks are still learning, so we expect more to come. So the governance structure with very stringent policies and framework will be put in place. I think that's key.
Great. So, Mr. Mu, any closing thoughts that you want to share that are forward-looking for the system beyond what Mr. Lee just mentioned?
Okay, well, I have a very limited time. I already close to the end. But I would like to mention one point here. Cross-border e-commerce among Southeast Asian economies is thriving with growing transaction volumes. Yet the cross-border payment services remain underserved. To better support the development of cross-border e-commerce, we as a new FMI will provide more convenient, low-cost, and efficient payment solutions to support the cross-border e-commerce. And for other points I will not mention here, but for the mBridge, we are starting from scratch. We have been building mBridge through various challenges, working in close collaboration with monetary authorities and private sector entities. The system functional design has been shaped directly by valuable feedback from commercial banks across all participating jurisdictions. The development of platform rules and the legal frameworks has been greatly enhanced by the invaluable contributions of consulting firms. So moving forward, we sincerely welcome more monetary authorities and interested private sectors to get in touch with us and step into the next stage with us. Together we thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mu. And so we're at the final slide, and it says questions, but obviously we're out of time for questions. But we do have a BIS booth, and there is also an HKMA booth. I haven't found the HKMA booth, but I know where the BIS booth is because I was there the whole day. So it's in the other hall, and it's easy to be found. And since you're all here late, I guess you care about the mBridge and this project. And we have a limited print of this brochure here, which has all these images that you saw on screen. And it also has the core values of the mBridge, which different participants here have touched upon. But I just want to read them out, and for reference, they're in those blue boxes. So this value says inclusivity is at the core of Project mBridge's mission, which is what Mr. Lee has emphasized. Project mBridge achieves neutrality through decentralization. That's what Mr. Mu has emphasized. The aspect of using DLT here is essentially to achieve this, decentralization and neutrality. Then we also have trust is at the core of what Project mBridge does. We have elaborated for you on the governance framework, and we have explained in the brochure, for example, how the cybersecurity approach of the mBridge works. Then collaboration, it has been emphasized extensively, I think by all of you, but extensively by Mr. Lee. It is at the key of the project's success. This is a collaborative project among central banks, by now 5 central banks. So I said the People's Bank of China, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the Bank of Thailand, the Central Bank of the U.A.E, and the Saudi Central Bank. Of course, Project mBridge embraces the spirit of innovation. Needless to say, this is innovative on all levels. The technology is innovative. It has a lot more potential beyond what we've done so far. We can continue building on it. But also, of course, it's innovative to have central banks work together and seek to achieve for the public good outcome a platform that can speed up payments, as Mr. Pou has explained at the beginning of this session. Now, finally, as emphasized by Mr. Mu, Project mBridge pursues connectivity through open sourcing and APIs. This, in turn, allows public-private sector collaboration, and we do expect public and private sector collaboration to keep growing in the future. So if you obtain a copy of this, but as said, there are a limited number of these copies left because we had a lot of people who came to get them today, you would see also the other observing members, the other central banks that are interested in the project, as well as international organizations. And you will also see the logos of the participating commercial banks that are currently already participating on the MVP platform. So with that, I will end this session, and thank you very much for coming and for staying late tonight. Thank you.